When you first start dating someone, it can feel like stepping into a brand new world. The excitement is high, the butterflies are real, and every little detail feels magnified. You catch yourself smiling at a text, replaying conversations in your head, wondering what the future might hold. But here's the thing, those early days aren't just exciting, they're also crucial, because it's in those first few weeks that people show you who they really are, often without even realizing it. And that's where the idea of red flags and green flags comes in. Red flags are the warning signs, the behaviors, patterns, or attitudes that hint at deeper issues down the road. They're the little signals that whisper, this may not be safe, this may not be healthy. On the other hand, green flags are the positive indicators. They're the signs that someone has the qualities to build something stable, respectful, and fulfilling. They show up in small gestures and consistency in the way they make you feel. The challenge is that, in the haze of excitement, it's easy to overlook the red flags and romanticize the good. That's why paying attention early matters so much. In this talk, we're going to break it all down. The red flags that signal caution, the green flags that deserve your attention, and how to balance the two so you can step into relationships with clarity, confidence, and a stronger sense of what healthy love truly looks like. Let's start with the red flags, because these are the signs you really don't want to ignore. They may appear small at first, easy to brush aside, but over time, they often grow louder and harder to escape. The first big red flag is a lack of respect. If someone dismisses your opinions, interrupts you constantly, or makes belittling jokes at your expense, that's not playful. It's a warning. Respect is the foundation of any healthy relationship, and without it, the ground will always feel shaky. Another one is inconsistency. One day, they're sweet, attentive, and texting you nonstop. The next, they disappear without explanation. That hot and cold behavior creates confusion, and confusion is not the same thing as excitement. Healthy interest shows up consistently. Then there's controlling behavior. This can start subtly. Questions about where you are, comments about who you spend time with, or guilt-tripping you for having a life outside the relationship. Over time, control squeezes out freedom, and freedom is essential for trust. Pay attention to a lack of accountability, too. If someone always blames others, never admits mistakes, or refuses to apologize, that's a serious problem. A person who can't take responsibility for their actions is not equipped for a healthy partnership. And finally, watch out for rushing too fast. Intense declarations of love, over-the-top promises, or pressure to move quickly might feel flattering in the moment, but it's often a sign of instability or love bombing. Real connection takes time. Red flags aren't about paranoia, they're about awareness. Spotting them early protects you from heartbreak later. Now let's flip the script. Because while red flags warn us, green flags guide us. They're the qualities that show a person is capable of building something stable, respectful, and genuinely fulfilling. And the truth is, noticing the good is just as important as spotting the bad. The first green flag is respect for boundaries. When someone listens to your needs, asks what makes you comfortable, and honors your limits, that's not just politeness, that's emotional maturity. It shows they value you as a person, not just as a potential partner. Next is consistency. Do their words match their actions? Do they follow through on promises, show up when they say they will, and keep communication steady? Consistency builds trust, and trust is the backbone of real connection. Another green flag is kindness and empathy. Pay attention to how they treat waiters, cashiers, or strangers. Do they show patience, compassion, and basic decency? If someone is kind to others, chances are that kindness will extend to you. Then comes emotional maturity. This shows up when a person can admit they were wrong, take responsibility, and handle conflict without exploding or shutting down. No one's perfect, but someone who can apologize and grow, that's rare and valuable. And finally, a big green flag is healthy pacing. They show interest, but they don't overwhelm or pressure you. They give space for the relationship to grow naturally, step by step. Green flags don't just make dating easier. They make it safer, healthier, and far more rewarding. They're the signals that say, this person has the tools to build something real. Here's the truth. Nobody is perfect. We all make mistakes, we all have off days, and we all carry habits that might not always shine in the best light. That's why balance and context are so important when we're evaluating red and green flags. A single awkward moment or one clumsy mistake doesn't automatically make someone toxic. Just like one kind gesture doesn't mean they're the perfect partner. What matters is patterns. Are their actions consistent over time? Do their behaviors align with what they say? Do the red flags repeat, or do they correct themselves when they slip? Context also matters. For example, maybe they cancel plans once because of work. That's not a red flag. But if they're constantly canceling, making excuses, or leaving you feeling like an afterthought, that's a pattern worth noticing. Similarly, someone showing you kindness in the early stages is wonderful, but if they're kind one moment and cruel the next, that inconsistency outweighs the green flag. Think of it like this. Early dating is less about keeping score and more about building a picture. Red flags are warnings, green flags are encouragements, and together they help you see the bigger truth. The key is to pay attention, to trust what you feel, and to look at the relationship as a whole, not just isolated moments. So here's the bottom line. Early dating is the stage where people show you who they are. The red flags are the whispers that say, be careful, this may not be safe. The green flags are the signals that say, this feels healthy, keep moving forward. Both matter, both deserve your attention, and both help you make choices that protect your heart and guide you toward the kind of relationship you deserve. Remember, a red flag doesn't always scream. It often shows up quietly, in patterns of disrespect, inconsistency, or control. Pay attention. Don't excuse bad behavior just because the chemistry feels strong. At the same time, don't overlook the green flags, the signs of kindness, maturity, and consistency that make love not only exciting, but safe and sustainable. The key is balance. Don't expect perfection. No one has only green flags. But trust yourself enough to recognize when the negatives outweigh the positives. And most importantly, trust your intuition. If something feels off, it probably is. If something feels safe and steady, that's worth holding on to. At the end of the day, healthy love doesn't leave you confused, anxious, or guessing. Healthy love feels like respect, it feels like safety, and it feels like joy. Look for the signs, listen to your gut, and remember, you are worthy of a love that lifts you, not one that drains you.